Hey everyone, what's up and welcome back. This week in this video, we are going to be talking through the Fellowship Greenville students' discipleship pinwheel or the cycle of discipleship. And really the heart behind this was discipleship is this super churchy word, super Bible word that we tend to throw around. And you look in the Gospel of Matthew chapter 28 and Jesus gives what we call the Great Commission. He gives to his disciples and to us this command: go and make disciples. And we kind of know what that means, but then disciple and discipleship has become such a familiar word that maybe we don't know what that means. And I was challenged a number of years ago by a few simple questions, and they were, how do we know we're making disciples well? How do we know when we're finished making a disciple? And then how do you measure the success of the fact that you made a disciple? And I thought, wow, those are good questions, because the way that discipleship is often talked about is this broad stroke, vague concept of somehow I'm influencing someone else, but what am I actually doing, and what am I trying to achieve, and what am I looking for in their life? And I realized, what would it look like to have metrics or measurables in the process of disciple making? And so at Fellowship Greenville students, we have 6 things that we're trying to accomplish in the lives of our students over the 7 years we have them, 6th grade through 12th grade. And these 6 things, we believe, are a healthy disciple of Jesus, that if a student graduates with these 6, that they are set up for success in their spirituality, and that we've made a disciple. And so what are the 6? Well, it begins with a story. We want every single one of our students to have a story, a faith story about when they came to believe in Jesus. And so, if I'm talking to a student and I'm like, hey man, tell me your story. Like, when did you believe in Jesus? And they're like, well, I've always just kind of believed. It's like, no. Like, tell me the moment, tell me the point or the season in life when it clicked. And they're like, well, my parents always had me in church. They were believers. It's like, no. Tell me this. Tell me when it happened. Tell me. And if they can't articulate that, then they may not have a story. And so the starting place really is a story. Tell me the story of how you came to believe in Jesus. And once they're able to talk through their story, this is the second thing in the cycle of discipleship, we then want them to begin to understand their identity in the body of believers, that the gathering of the church is greater than the building that we meet in. In other words, we want to shift the worldview that the church is not a building, it's a body. And your identity in Jesus belongs to a global body of believers. And what does that mean to be connected to the global scale of believers in the kingdom of heaven? Third, we want our students to develop some spiritual disciplines. And while there are many, the 2 that we tend to focus on are Bible reading and praying. We want to cultivate a discipline within those 2 areas of their life. We want our students to read the Bible and have a hunger for the Word of God, and also learn how to pray to God and crave to talk to God through prayer. And so we focus on those 2 things. The fourth in this cycle of discipleship is we want our students to understand who the Spirit is and what it means that He lives inside of us. So the indwelling Spirit and how that transforms our heart. How do we walk in the Spirit? How do we live in the Spirit? Who is He? What does He do? How do we have victory over sin through His presence? We want them to discover those things. Fifth is based out of John chapter 13. We want them to develop a worldview where they serve others. The King of Kings became the servant of servants and washed feet. The night of Jesus' betrayal and arrest, the last night on earth before his arrest, he washed feet. This model of royalty becoming servant. Jesus invites us into that same perspective. So we want our students to develop a worldview that serves and that's concerned about others, that life's not all about themselves, but they give themselves away. And then 6th, and finally, they learn how to replicate this process in the lives of others through their influence. And so in their friend groups, in their families, when they go off to college or jobs or wherever, how can they be disciples of Jesus who are manifesting these realities in the lives of others? How can they cultivate these things in the lives of others? And so we think, man, if we could accomplish these 6 things, a story, an identity of belonging to the body, spiritual disciplines of word and prayer, the indwelling spirit, a worldview of service, and replicating this in others, we believe, yeah, we've made disciples and we've made them well. And so small group leaders, this is what we're asking you to help us create over the 7 years that we have these students.